Well, here's what we know. It's been 3 weeks since the official rollout of Clean Your Frontage, and yet Joy News' checks reveal that the policy aimed at the president's vision of making Accra the cleaner city in Africa, actually, is experiencing a very slow takeoff. Now, the Kaneshi Lorry Terminal is one of the busiest spots here in Accra and is fast becoming a dumping site in spite of numerous attempts to keep the area clean. Here's what we found out when we hit the streets of Accra today.
Well, it's been 3 weeks since the official takeoff of Operation Clean Your Frontage. Government explains that it's targeting to achieve the president's vision of making Accra the cleaner city in West Africa. The operation is being enhanced across all districts here in the Greater Accra region with a directive to the local authorities to ensure that they rid the various municipalities and districts of filth and ensure sanitation. But it appears that after 3 weeks of takeoff, the situation is not getting any better. We're here at a Metro Mass Transit point at the Kaneshi Lorry Terminal where the situation is not looking good. You can see right here garbage gathered right in front of a Metro Mass bus where persons and commuters have been complaining about the experience almost on a daily basis. You can just come with me so we get an understanding of what's happening in here. Let's interact with some of the people who on a daily basis visit this place to understand what exactly is happening. You can come on board with me. Let's interact with some of the people who are here. And of course, I have one of my good friends who's on board already. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome to Joy News. What can you say about what's happening right in front of the lorry terminal?
Okay, I'm here boarding a car from Carnation to Winneba. She ni batalole mi na keshi shi jwe ijele shipon ni ko ko ehinkra ngome no batalole mi ehun fun enja wo mi ojugba wo mapa ni amna lo eke menu ko ni ke michumo amekwe ni ambalo jo ene ye bi ni fali fe mo aba jaga mekenu michumo ko ba ke ake clean your frontage wo ka clean frontage ni wo jigbe ke no ba ifi ba ni ke ije no ko ni ba wa wo mapa fa ni amna lo akọ ni abalo jo ene ni wo shin le ayu mani yerado.
And he's not actually the only one in all of this. There are more persons who are complaining about this, asking that the authorities need to do something about this. Hello, sir. Welcome to Joy News. What can you say about what's happening right in front of the terminal?
Okay. To me, I think it's a very bad attitude. Like where people commute, you understand, having this kind of rubbish like packed here. You see, people sell, people eat here. And then we are saying that we want to cap the disease and make Accra the neatest. Yeah, so we need to actually get rid of all these things. Like the authorities should come to do everything like possible to clear these things.
Now I know that a lot of people come here. This is a very well-known terminal. You've also been boarding car here for quite some time now. How bad is the situation?
It's very bad. Like it's very bad. Like seeing the heap of rubbish packed here, it's very bad. Like it's nothing to write home about.
The complaint we hear is that it's not necessarily being generated by the commuters, and that it may be some persons outside from here. What more do you know about that?
Actually, I can't really tell, but I don't know if like it's not really about the commuters, but I think. Like even if it is the commuters who are bringing it, I'm sure if the authorities who are responsible for these things are on their toes, like before the wake of everyone, like before everyone gets up to go on its normal duties, all these things have been cleared. You understand? Exactly. So I think the sanitation ministry and then everything is responsible for these things. So before the day comes, you are supposed to know that these things have to be cleared.
How about the aspect of individual responsibility? The claim is that at least you should also be concerned as an individual and you should take on the authorities of the Metro Mass Transit. Have you tried talking to them? What do they tell you?
Actually, I think that being an individual or something, you see, you in person, you should know that you can also do something to help yourself, you understand? So if the authorities are not coming to help, you can also do something to help. For instance, you have something that you've eaten and then, you see, instead of you dropping it, thinking someone will come and clear it, You see, just put it in the car, okay? And then I'm thinking that the Metro Mass, the terminal, those who are responsible for this thing too, they should also like do something, because this is where they have their business. So you clear your area, and then you don't necessarily depend on the general sanitation office to come and clear things for you. If you clean it for yourself, it will be better than allowing people to actually come to your aid before you clear your things. But I think it is the mindset. You need to clean yourself, and then someone can help you to clean it all.
Yeah, it's affecting us. Considering we passengers, when we board a vehicle, the stench emanating from the refuse, it's not nice. We don't feel comfortable. So I'm pleading with authorities, to the AME or whoever is in charge, to do well and clear it off, because it's making us uncomfortable. Long wait in the vehicle, in addition with the stench, Charlie, we are suffering. So whoever is in charge should do well and clear the refuse dump from there. We'll be very glad.
I see that you normally use this terminal, and how much of a problem is it? Is it a constant thing?
It's a constant thing. You feel so uncomfortable. Besides, the vehicle doesn't get full on time. So you'll be in the vehicle for 1 hour, 2 hours sometimes, depending on the days. Sometimes, some days it gets full on time, sometimes it doesn't get. So whilst you are in the vehicle, the stench also keeps getting into the vehicle. Health-wise, your health is at risk, because a lot of bacteria emanating from the stench and everything is at risk. So I'm pleading with the authorities to do something about it, because health-wise we are all affected. You come here, you wait, you go home, and you fall sick out of this rubbish and everything. So whoever is in charge should do all and work on it. Yeah, that promise, I don't know how far we did, but
Which of the promise you mean?
the Accra being the cleanest city, I don't think it has been achieved. No, not at all. When you go around Accra, it is still the same old filth that has engulfed the city. Accra is nothing to write home about with regards to sanitation. So as for the president promised, I don't think he has achieved it, not at all. So he has a lot of work to do, especially with sanitation. The sanitation issue in Accra is getting worse by the day. So the president should sit up. I don't know how he's going to do it, but with his sanitation ministry and whatever ministry that he came and he put together, they have a lot of work to do. They are not doing anything at all. They should sit up, because the sanitation issue in Ghana is getting worse by the day. And health-wise, people are falling sick by the day. So the president promised on making Accra the cleanest city in Ghana or West Africa or whatever it is. He should sit up if he really wants to achieve it before his end of tenure. Yeah.
Right. So that's it. I don't need to say it myself. You've heard from all the commuters here indicating that if you are right here at the Kaneshie terminal of the Metro Mass Transit Limited, then it will definitely mean that you will, of course, require a lot of courage to continue to stay in this vehicle, because apparently what's in front of this lorry terminal is nothing to write home about. There are calls on authorities to try as much as possible to clear the filth that is right here at the Kaneshie MMT transit point. So all of the filth that you see there, this is where it all comes to. This is supposed to be the AMA office complex, but it's become an abandoned project, and yet the sanitation officials within the Accra Metropolitan Assembly are using this facility as a temporary spot to collect all of the filth that we gather, that is being gathered by the officials, the sanitation officials within the municipality. This is the coordination point, and then from here, Zoomlion and other sanitation service providers take this off from here to wherever it needs to go to. But there are concerns as well that this place is becoming a hideout for miscreants, and not only that, even the filth that's supposed to be taken away is not being done on time. And fortunately, we have some of the officials here who have been providing us with explanations as to what exactly the case is with regards to the Operation Clean Your Frontage here within the Kaneshie area. Let's speak to one gentleman who's a unit committee member here. Good afternoon to you, sir, and welcome to join us.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon to you.
Okay. What's your name, sir?
My name is Michael Nikote.
Michael, so here we are, and obviously what we see behind us is nothing to write home about. There are complaints that the Operation Clean Your Frontage is not taking off as it should within the Kaneshie area. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, I don't have much to say, but what I will say is, it's like a habit of Ghanaians. We initiate a program, and just 1, 2, 3 days, they all relax. As you can see here, actually it's not like this. They normally, every morning, the compactor come around and then they collect the rubbish. But then there's a problem. And if there's a problem at all, right now look at what we are facing. And who knows when they will come for it? We don't know. So as I said, I mean, Ghana, we initiate 2, 3, 4 days, then everybody food is something again.
It's surprising that till date, nothing has been done about the one that has been collected for the past week. What have you engaged the officials? What do they tell you about why we still have this here? Is there a problem?
Okay, actually, I don't think this thing has been here for more than days. It's only this morning. They normally bring them here this morning, then the compactor will be here and takes it away. But as we asked them, and they were saying there's a problem with the compactor.
Okay.
So that is the main reason why. It's only today. This is not here every day because we have a restaurant here. We will not allow that. So it's only today, as we are seeing. But we need to have a backup plan. Because till now, even if you got the time, and nothing has been done about it, I don't know. We don't know what to say.
How would you describe, I mean, persons within your locality, are they responding to this whole Operation Clean Your Frontage? Would you say that they are responding to it?
Yeah, I would say they are really responding to it. But I think AMA has much to do. Because I know it's a program that they are enforcing. And it must be enforced because you have to respect it. You have to subject to it. So some are doing, some are not doing it. But if authorities will really stand up and say no, even if every week or every something there will be a sermon or whatever to help, it will be very good. But actually it's going on well. It's going on well, yeah. People are cleaning.
Okay. Yeah. But what needs to be done is the collection and all of that. And in fact, this is supposed to be, the building itself is supposed to be the Accra Metro Complex. Tell us about it. We understand it's rather becoming a place for miscreants. What do you have to say about that?
With this building, I think only, unless God comes, if I may say so. We had it on the news. We said a whole lot. And the police was here, the AME was here, the regional, I mean, they were here and they do what they have to do. Just within 2, 3 days, no, the people are here again. And there's nothing going on. I've called on AME several times. No, I mean, there's nothing. People are not bathing the offices. Where they said they'll be using for office, people are bathing there.
Well, so that's the situation within the Kaneshie area. Obviously, we're asking that big question this afternoon. Is Operation Clean Your Frontage really working? Just 3 weeks after the rollout of the program, fortunately, we've been joined by Yawa Tahin, who's chairperson for the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation, CONEWAS. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on The Pulse. First of all, what's your impression 3 weeks after the official commencement of Operation Clean Your Frontage?
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to our viewers. Let me say that I have not been impressed, particularly with, what I have seen so far. And my concerns have been excellently captured by the people you have already interviewed. Look, the difference between us and the advanced countries is simply a matter of systems and enforcement. And so we are able to introduce very good initiatives. And then we launch it with pomp and pageantry. And then after that, the systems to sustain the program, it's not there. And therefore, no matter how much you try, you are unable to sustain the effort. Look, we have all applauded the effort of the Greater Accra Regional Minister. This is a very brilliant initiative. And I think that this initiative has to be anchored within established institutions.
And I was just about coming there because from the start, when the piloting commenced, we saw a lot of people latch onto the program, laud the Greater Accra Regional Minister for it, and that's why we're where we are today. So how come all of a sudden we're seeing a U-turn on the streets?
Because you see, like I was saying, the initiative is brilliant, driven by the regional minister. But you see, for such a major program, to succeed, you need to anchor it within established institutions and ensure that it is not only the regional minister who is seen to be pushing this agenda. All other relevant institutions must be brought on board to ensure that the fight is won. Perhaps we need a presidential initiative on this. I am yet to hear the president instruct all the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies that this is the agenda we are pursuing. We want to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. So this is your task. If you don't deliver, you have no business being in that metropolis or municipality or the district.
But I guess the president's position is quite known on this. He's brought out that grand vision of making Accra the cleanest city in Africa, and that's what needs to trickle down. Why then go back and be fixated on what the president should do at this point?
I agree with you. This is a brilliant proclamation, making Accra the cleanest city in Africa. Very brilliant. But do we have the institutions to ensure that Accra really becomes the cleanest city in Africa? Are we putting in place adequate resources? Are we prioritizing sanitation enough? Are we doing the behavior change communication campaign? Are we even ensuring that we carry citizens along? I mean, if we don't do some of these things, it will be difficult for us to be able to achieve results. I have been particularly concerned about sustainability, because if we allow only the regional minister to be pushing this, what if the regional minister is not there, I mean, next year? What happens to this fight? And that's why I think that it should become part of the medium-term development framework of all the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. That way, you are sure that all the assembly members are supporting it. They will allocate resources for it. They will plan to ensure they deliver on it. Otherwise, it will become a one-man fight.
So what's the clear solution here? You want a policy document on Operation Clean Your Frontage. Is that particularly what you're asking for?
Excellent. That is my first call. Do we have a blueprint for Operation Clean Your Frontage? When we say the frontage, it even has to be defined. Do we have some time frame for delivering this? Where is that plan? We need a plan. I mean, with a plan, it is easy for you to even market it to development partners who are willing to support various aspects of it. But if you don't do that, then it becomes a very difficult one. Look, we have allowed
this is where this is the point at which this is the point at which the sanitation ministry comes under sharp focus. The fact that, well, if you look at the ministry that's spearheading the Operation Clean Your Frontage, this has been done by the Regional Coordinating Council. How about the sector ministry or agency itself and their responsibility? How about that?
And I think that should tell you about the way we go about coordination and harmonization in our ministries and our agencies. If you ask me, I am not convinced that the ministry is so very much involved in this right from the planning stage. And I think that is what should have happened. In any case, the ministry is only, I mean, a body that is supposed to, I mean, bring out policies and ensure that the policies are implemented to benefit the citizens. But the actual work has to be done by the MMDAs. And that is why we have been calling for the establishment of the National Sanitation Authority. With the authority, I believe that the planning will be solid, implementation will be solid, they will attract the right kind of resources, both human and material, and be able to prosecute the agenda from a purely non-partisan, I mean, point of view. And I think that we need to have that sanitation authority implemented as soon as possible.
I don't intend to be political about this or partisan about it, but obviously there are comparisons already going on as to which would be the best approach. The every Saturday policy, which was introduced under the SY administration, and what we have now, Operation Clean Your Frontage. Which of them is the best strategy in confronting or tackling issues of sanitation in Accra? Because the argument has been advanced that if we become repetitive about the campaign, just as we've seen in the first Saturday policy, we don't even need enforcement persons going on this whole campaign of Operation Clean Your Frontage. What's your take on that?
If you ask me, I think that we need both. if for nothing at all, the first Saturday of the month initiative was good because then it created that kind of awareness for everybody to know that, oh, today is the first Saturday, we need to do something. It triggered the consciousness of the citizen to act. There are aspects of this one which I believe are also good. So for me, let's go back to the basics. Let's integrate the two and ensure that we are able to deliver, as expected. But we cannot throw away this. There are very beautiful initiatives that we can draw from this. But definitely, I will agree with you that the first Saturday initiative was also a very good one, if we do it well.
And the question out there is, really, is this a feasible target of making Accra the cleaner city in Africa? How far are we away from that grand vision that we've seen the president expound on a number of occasions? We've seen the president talk about that. He seems to be convinced about it, his ministers as well. But how far are we from achieving that vision from where you are standing as NGOs in water and sanitation?
We are very, very, very far away from it. Very, very, very far away. And I must be frank with you. Look, to be able to do this, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum. You need to ensure that you prioritize this and make it a national development agenda. Then you allocate adequate resources for it. You have to ensure that you are able to enforce the laws, the bylaws, and the regulations that we have. You have to ensure that the human resources are available for this. You have to ensure infrastructure is laid out. There are a whole lot of things to be done. If you look at the countries who are already ahead of us, they are very, very much ahead of us. And it will take us redoubling our efforts and doing the right things to be able to arrive at this. But so far, from what I am seeing, it doesn't appear to me that we are going to achieve this by 2024. It doesn't appear likely.
Well, you're painting a grim picture, and obviously there are those who are also trying to assess the individual behavior of Ghanaians. We've had the authority complain about that. The sanitation ministers are obviously talking about how Ghanaians are not buying into this vision as part of the challenges confronting this policy. How about our attitudes as well as persons? And how do we really change that? What measures do we put in place to educate the people the more?
Great. And it's one of the major pillars that I talked about, because you cannot achieve anything without behavior change. And that's why I mentioned earlier that we need a comprehensive and sustained behavior change communication strategy, carrying the citizens along. I should be hearing by now, on the airwaves, jingles and information, education going on in the communities, on radio, everywhere. When you are able to do that and do it smart, then citizens are conscious that they need to take certain steps to live in a very clean environment. I have commended the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources for some of the initiatives that her ministry has taken to ensure that at least we are able to improve on the solid waste situation in this country. But it doesn't appear we are sustaining that effort. And that is my worry. We need to ensure that we put in place the structures to sustain the gains that we are able to make. Otherwise, every now and then, the gains will be eroded.
What's the level of engagement between CONEWAS, the NGOs in water and sanitation, and also the sector agencies, for instance, the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, in this operationalization of Operation Clean Your Frontage? Obviously, as stakeholders, government should be engaging you by now. What's the level of engagement, and how far do you intend to take that?
I agree with you that engagement should be key. Engagement should be solid. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that we have been engaged adequately on this. In fact, I attended the launch, but before then, there had been no engagement. And I think that every step of the way, we should be engaging and measuring the progress that we are making and putting in place the adequate structures to ensure that we do not deviate. I think that that is what we need. And not only CONEWAS, but all relevant stakeholders need to be brought on board to ensure that we win this fight. Look, there is this saying that I always quote, that sanitation is a physical measure which has probably done more to increase human lifespan than any kind of drug or surgery can do. And this was a famous quote which was said by American philosopher Deepak Chopra. And it is very, very true. Unfortunately, we don't prioritize it and we don't accord it the necessary attention that it deserves.
Well, just as we wrap up on this conversation, in fact, there's one conversation ahead that we'll be having on government's concerns over water shortage. Obviously, that should be of concern to you as NGOs in water and sanitation as well. There's that likelihood that we may be experiencing rationing, and it's already happening across the country. What's accounting for this, and what official reports do you have on our status as a country in terms of water security, if I would put it that way?
Yes, I mean, let me indicate that when it comes to water, as a country, we have done quite well. At least the multiple indicator cluster survey tells us that Ghana has done at least 80%. In fact, the joint monitoring platform of UNICEF and World Health Organization puts us at basic access 86%. That is quite good. Even though we have challenges with water quality issues, we have challenges with equity and inclusion and all that. I think, if you ask me, the basic issue has to do with funding. We have not been able to sustain the funding required to ensure that we increase infrastructure, we expand the network to cover a lot more people because population is increasing. If we get the funding, I tell you that we have the expertise, we have all it takes to be able to provide access to water to everybody everywhere in Ghana. And that is what we have not been able to provide. Government needs to prioritize water and sanitation and ensure that financing is increased for the delivery of this so that everybody everywhere will get access and nobody will be left behind. That is what we need.
Yao Atahin is the chairperson of CONOWAS, if we could refer to him as such. But I'm grateful, sir, that you've been able to join us on The Pulse this afternoon. We have more coming your way because senior...